The markets are open.
People always ask, well, why should I bet on Monday? Because you have the perfect number in front of you.
And the numbers are moving. Let's dive into some Monday morning market moves on BetQL Daily, presented by BetMGM.
Uh-oh. Do it again.
The markets are open.
There it is.
The
Joe
markets are
Ostrowski's-
closed.
Yep. Oh, already? We had that one chance to get the pop. The wheel was spinning. Wheel was spinning on Sammy P. Couldn't get the wager in. It's week 3, Sammy, and we've already got a bunch of teams taking their bye week and impactful teams. If you're thinking, okay, I'm going to fade Northern Illinois to the moon after that all-time victory on Saturday in South Bend, not happening because they're not playing this week, along with Ohio State, Penn State, USC, Louisville. Thank you, Louisville, for the win in Survivor. Clemson, Iowa State. Already, we've got a lot of teams off after just 2 games here.
But that doesn't mean that lines aren't already moving right away. When this opened up at Circa, of course, opens all these college games first on Sunday afternoon. So while you're watching the NFL early slate, the college markets open up in Las Vegas. And the first move that I paid attention to right out of the gate was Coastal Carolina, 133. Coastal Carolina went from 16 to 17.5, bang, right out of the gate. So they're betting against Temple. And that, to be honest with you, Joe, over the course of the season is probably going to be a profitable angle. So they laid the points with Coastal Carolina from 16 to 17.5. Can I interest you in some Central Michigan? They are on the road at Illinois. Illinois, big win at home against Kansas as a 5.5-point dog. Illinois opens 18, and that number looks to be coming down and maybe through the 17 at one point. Central Michigan getting some money against Illinois. And we are also going to see some money coming in on Alabama. Tide go on the road to face Wisconsin. This opened 15.5. It is down to 15 at Circa. But offshore, it is on the way to 16. And I imagine as we get closer to kickoff, let's play this game. Where does that number close? Is it more likely that Bama closes 14 or 17? I think it's the latter.
Yes, I would agree with that. Okay, let's go through those one by one. Okay, now that this Temple number, meaning Coastal Carolina as the favorite, yeah, it's past 17 at just about every spot but Circa. Is it too late? It's not going the other direction. There's not going to be a move on Temple. So do we take the 17.5 or do we take a look later in the week when it's probably closer to 20?
You know what's funny is we're looking at the screen here. How is that money line not higher than 575 on the dog? That doesn't even make sense. I would need at least 7-1 to take Temple. And even at that number, I probably wouldn't do it. This might hit 20, man. I mean, it's only Monday. We still have the whole rest of the work week to bet Coastal Carolina. It's not going to come the other way.
One of the domestic books is already at 18.5. So it's probably going 20. It's just going to be the fade team. So not ideal, but if you're going to bet it, do it now, right?
I would do that now. The second game I brought up was Illinois. Would you take the points with Central Michigan? You could take 17.5. And the way that this is moving right now and the way that it's shaping up, I think we're going to get to 17 really soon.
Yeah. On the direction down, there are some 18.5s out there. So, yeah, if you're going Central Michigan, take those points. Want to do that now. That's going to come down as more and more people talk about it. They're going to fade the upset, right? The exciting victory, the celebration afterwards. Yeah, I could see that too. And I think you're right on Alabama. When you ask the question, is it more likely to which direction, since it's between 14 and 17, it's dead center right now. Which direction is more likely to go? It's, even though we're talking about Camp Randall, it's the SEC team. It's the 17 points, 100%.
I'll tell you what, man, I will probably be on Central Michigan to go back one peg. This is the perfect spot to go against Illinois. Not because they just had that huge win against Kansas, but because it is the reversal of roles. They go from the unwanted, unsexy underdog getting almost 6 full points. Now you got to win by more than 17 points. That's not Illinois football, man. That's just not. I mean, I'm sorry. I will not be laying 17 points with Illinois a whole lot. I didn't take Kansas last week. It did not fade against Illinois. But to go from +1.5 one week to -17.5 the next week is a big deal in the market.
Mm-hmm. All right, there's no movement on this number, but we've got to bring the game up because it was the biggest college football story of the weekend. Notre Dame. They're laying 12.5. So now they go from Northern Illinois. They took, I think they got paid $1.4 million to play the game. They took the check. They took the dub, right? So they're going back home. So now Notre Dame back up against the wall. We've been here with Freeman before. We were here 2 years ago with Marshall, and they were a 20-point favorite. Now they lose as a 28-point favorite in your house, first home game of the year. So we've got Purdue coming off the bye. They faced, Indiana State, whatever. It was a nothing, 49-0 in their first game. I'm asking you the question because, yes, we know it's a got-to-have-it spot. A lot of pressure on Freeman. People are already saying, how long is the leash going to be for Freeman? Like, if you're Notre Dame, if you were arguing about Brian Kelly early in his tenure about getting him out of Dodge, but he ended up having a good record there. But, my God, Riley Leonard sucks. Like, there's just no other way to spin it. He has been god-awful. I kind of gave him a pass at Texas A&M. They win the game. Tough road spot. Like, it's different there. And now you're coming back home. Awful once again against the Huskies defense. Are you looking Purdue?
Purdue or pass at this point. These 12.5s are mostly locked in at -110. So not much juice movement.
Nothing.
Some books -105, but not really any movement on the side. I'm a little concerned for Notre Dame that this total is coming up 44.5 to 45.5 to 46. So we are seeing over money on a Notre Dame game, and watching their offense the last couple of weeks, that would not be indicative of over money early. So that tells me that A, Purdue is going to score, and B, this is probably on the way up. I don't think it's going to close 47, but if it gets to 47, it's funny how the market works, because when you open 44.5 and write over money, there's somebody on the other side of that waiting with a knife at 47 to come under. You know it.
Yeah, for sure. Riley Leonard was still waiting on his first touchdown pass of the season after a couple of games. Rivalry spots, I don't think it's a surprise to anyone that Iowa falls inside the number. The Cyclones get the upset at Iowa. So that was a fun one. And then we have another in-state rivalry game coming up. It's always fun with Oregon State. Now, they don't play in the same conference anymore. Oregon going to the Big Ten, but 2 touchdowns, man. What do you think about 2 touchdowns in this rivalry?
Oregon has let 2 inferior teams just hang around. It's one thing to let Idaho hang around, but then the following week, you really need a powerful second half to get through Boise State. And this was a line that was anywhere from 18 to 20 over the course of last week. I had the over 61. That was fun. But if you're an Oregon Ducks fan right now, you got to be a little concerned about laying 14 on the road, right? It is weird, though. Isn't it weird to see this game played on September 14th? That ain't right.
Yes.
I know that obviously Oregon's in the Big Ten now. But this is a late fall. This is a November 20th game for as long as we've been watching ball.
Right, I know. It's very strange, very strange. 14.5 at a couple of spots out there. But there's also 13.5, so that'll be interesting to watch. I don't know. Since we haven't seen a movement yet, maybe it stands still there. Looking for anything else jump out as far as early line movement. It feels like not as much as what we saw a week ago. I guess we could mention the UConn fade, right? They're betting on Duke. It opened 15, and now we're 17 everywhere.
I was looking at the move against Kansas. So they open up 8.5 against UNLV. And of course, Kansas just lost as a road chalk at Illinois. 8.5 did not last. We are seeing 7 everywhere in the market. 7 -105 at BetMGM. That move early in the week sort of tells me that we're headed through the 7. That Kansas might come down eventually to 6.5, maybe 6, at which point you might get some money that comes in on the Jayhawks. But that was a pretty sharp move against Kansas to go right to 7 right away. And I do have to laugh at this one on the board. 113, 114. I don't even know if we have a graphic built for this game. But the total in North Texas and Texas Tech opened 68.5. It has been bet up to 69. And I'll tell you what, Joe, I don't think I would bet the under 69 in this one. This game could be 21-21 at half. This is going to be a freaking shootout.
Man, let me ask you this. I know it was a bottom feeder, and they've got another easy one this week. How you feel about the U, man?
Oh,
good Lord.
Man. They're top 5. I'm telling you, they're top 5, baby. What do we tell you? The U's coming. The U's coming.
Woo. BetMGM's posting a 36 in the hook. Miami hosting Ball State. Chirp, chirp? No, there's no way. They want to lay it on you, man.
Ball State will not be taking that check. They will not be taking that check like the Huskies of NIU did.
Yeah, what's the money line on that one?
Minus 20,000. So you got to lay. If you want to just bet Miami to win the game, you got to bet 20,000 to win 100.
Yep. So there's some. Wow. Okay, like the money line for the dog is all over the place. Is that real? There's a spot posting at 80 to 1.
Don't do it.